Let's talk about Italy. It's a country that, in so many ways, feels like it's living in two different centuries at the same time. You've got this incredibly rich, celebrated history that defines pretty much everything. And then you've got the modern world, with all its challenges and innovations knocking at the door. It's this constant push and pull, this paradox, that we're going to unpack today. And you see this contradiction immediately. I mean, look at this. Italy is literally leading the entire European Union in sustainable agriculture. They're turning their traditional foods into a massive economic powerhouse. But then you flip the coin, and they're lagging way behind on something that's fundamental to the future as electric cars. It's a real head-scratcher, and it gets right to the heart of the story.
So, it all boils down to this one big question. How does a country like Italy pull off this incredible balancing act? How do you race towards the future? How do you innovate and compete on a global scale without letting go of the very heritage that makes you, well, you? It's the tightrope Italy has to walk every single day.
And that's exactly what we're calling this section. Italy's balancing act. It really is a constant tightrope walk between that amazing heritage and the very real pressures of the modern world.
This conflict, it really starts with the land itself. You could almost call it a battle of soil versus atoms. We're going to explore how Italy's ancient agricultural wisdom stands in stark contrast to a very new and very controversial plan to bring back nuclear energy.
First, let's talk about that agricultural success, because the scale is just stunning. In 2023, we're talking about a record-breaking 42.4 billion euros in agricultural value added. That's a 9% jump from the year before, and it puts Italy ahead of giants like France and Germany. They're number one in the EU.
So what in the world is agricultural value added? Well, it's actually a pretty simple and brilliant concept. Imagine this. You can sell a bunch of raw tomatoes, and sure, they're worth something. But what if you take those same tomatoes and you turn them into a beautiful jar of high-quality, perfectly branded pasta sauce? Suddenly, their value skyrockets. That transformation, that's the value added.
So what's their secret recipe for success? The key thing to understand is that Italy isn't just trying to produce more stuff. They're focused on producing better stuff. It's all about quality over quantity. They market products with protected origins, like real Parmesan cheese or Chianti wine. And this is where tradition meets innovation, because farmers are also using modern tech like drip irrigation to save water and even renewable energy right on the farm.
But then you have this complete 180 in energy policy. Italy is seriously considering a return to nuclear power, decades after shutting down all its plants after Chernobyl. On one hand, supporters say that these new, so-called small modular reactors could be a reliable, low-carbon way to get energy independence. But on the other hand, critics are quick to point out that the big risks haven't gone away. You've still got the danger of accidents and the huge, unsolved problem of what to do with radioactive waste that lasts for thousands of years. It's a really heated debate.
And this tension between the old and the new, it doesn't just stop with the land. It cuts right to the very heart of Italian culture itself. Now we're going to see how modern disruptions, everything from new laws to tough economic realities, are interacting with deep-rooted ways of life.
If you look just below the surface of the job market, the data reveals some pretty concerning trends. For starters, there's a stubborn gender pay gap. On average, women in Italy earn over 6,000 euros less per year than men. And that's not just a number on a chart, right? It raises some really fundamental questions about fairness and equal opportunity.
And the gaps don't stop there. There's a massive age gap, too. If you're under 30, you're likely earning over 36% less than your colleagues who are over 50. What kind of contract you have also makes a huge difference. Temporary workers earn almost 25% less than permanent ones. It paints a really complex picture of the challenges facing the Italian workforce today.
But this is Italy we're talking about. And where there are challenges, there is always that famous Italian ingenuity. So when faced with stricter drink-driving laws that could have hurt restaurant wine sales, a huge part of the culture, businesses got creative. They started offering smaller glasses, promoting really good non-alcoholic drinks, and even came up with this brilliant take-home wine idea, so you can buy a nice bottle and just take the rest home with you. It's a perfect blend of modern safety and timeless culture.
And speaking of culture, get this. This is just amazing. Back in the 1700s and 1800s, some noble families actually turned parts of their own residential buildings into small public theaters. These condominium theaters weren't just for shows. They were buzzing social hubs where the line between art and everyday life just completely disappeared. Now, they're even being considered for UNESCO heritage status, which is a fantastic reminder that culture often lives in these unexpected, everyday places.
Okay, so with all of these competing forces, all this push and pull, is there a path forward? Is there a way to successfully blend both worlds? Well, this next case study just might offer a glimpse of a blueprint. It's the story of Costa Smeralda.
So the story starts back in the 1960s. Prince Karim Aga Khan discovers this beautiful, rugged stretch of coastline in Sardinia. But his vision wasn't just to plop down a bunch of luxury resorts. No. His idea was to create a destination that blended with nature, not bulldozed it. He brought in strict building codes to preserve the landscape. He invested in infrastructure and this is the crucial part, he made sure to involve the local Sardinian community, training them and creating jobs. Today, it's a world-famous model of sustainable luxury.
And while huge visionary projects like that offer one path, sometimes the most powerful proof of this balancing act is found right in the kitchen. Get this, an incredible 96% of Italians still buy extra virgin olive oil. 96%. It's way more than just a cooking ingredient. It's a non-negotiable symbol of quality, of health, and a deep, deep connection to the land that survives every single modern change.
Which brings us right back to our final question. We've seen Italy as a leader and a laggard, an innovator and a fierce protector of tradition, all at the same time. So, what do you think? Is this complicated, messy, beautiful balancing act a blueprint that the rest of the world could learn from as we all try to navigate the future? Or is it a journey that is and always will be uniquely Italian? That's something to chew on.